Hello and welcome. My name is Jan Dvořák. I'm the founder of Letter Universe, and today I'm going to show you how to get started with our platform as a writer. So, once you log in as a writer, you will probably see something like this. This is our dashboard, but let's jump right into the workshop. This is where you'll be spending most of your time creating your words and stories. So first of all, you will kind of see your history of how much you have written in the past and hopefully to pump you up. Next, you will see your level on the way of the author. That will be explained some other time. And then finally, we get to the most important part, which is your own work. You can see we have some other ones. So let's quickly talk these over. Your own work, as the name indicates, your own work, your own stories and universes that you create. Collaborative work is where you get invited to be a co-author. Translations is where you can get invited onto a story or a universe to translate that given work into the language of your choice. Beta readings, this is for beta readers, so they will see a list of the stories that they're beta readers for. And author progress is the way of the author and summary of what you should focus on to kind of get to the next level in your writing career. Now then, let's take a look on our own work. So we have here universes, stories, and fan fiction. Let's take this from the top. Universes are our literary words. They are kind of the containers, which can have multiple stories. You can have encyclopedia and other things. These are designed for long-running stories or stories that have a lot of characters, locations, and in general, you want to showcase all those. We recommend universes to be used with genre fiction because that's where they can shine the most and make the most sense. Stories, as the name suggests, are just standalone stories that are not connected to any universe. These are really nice for one-offs, non-fiction, or general fiction that you don't want all the bells and whistles of that universe provides. Now, let's take a look at creating a new universe. So this is the basic form to create a universe. So let's create a literary universe. This is our own, and this will be the story of our mascot. So a couple of things just right off the bat. As you have seen, the title has been converted into an SEO-friendly address. This is how it will appear in the URL this is how it's going to appear in the address bar. It's one of the shorteners, and this is nice looking. You can always change it later, but we recommend that you pick up SEO that is available as soon as possible and stick with it. Otherwise, later on, the links are going to break. Alternatively, you can also get a canonical link which shows the ID of the universe, and then it's going to not break in any circumstances because that is something that will not change. You can upload a cover. I think self-explanatory. It should be 1-to-1 ratio. And this is going to appear on the discovery pages. So similar to like a story cover. This is to entice people to visit your universe. Now, some of you might see here guild ownership, author override. This is primarily for our authors who work with organizations or with public domain works, where you can assign that work to belong to an organization and alternatively override the author's name. So most of you will not see it. But don't forget to pick your language. By default, the settings picks the language that you set up for the UI, but you can change it, and you have here all the languages that we support for writing, and we'll always try to expand. So if you cannot find it, let us know and we'll be happy to add it after some internal work to make sure that everything is going to work. So here you have the option to publish. We don't want that right now. And then we have the option to prevent publishing of stories. So for example, if you're writing for yourself, or if you're writing something private or don't want to accidentally publish anything, you will toggle this option. Otherwise, once you write a story and publish a chapter, it will then trigger a cascade of publications. So if you once you publish a chapter, it will then publish a story, and that will then in turn publish the universe if they have not been published previously, because you need all of these parts so that things do not break. Of course, then we'll select the genre. So in our case, it's science fiction. We should have everything here. Next, we have bibliographic data and classification. So here we can put ISSN or DOI if you want, if you have any of those. For stories, there will be a few more options. Next, a big important one is general rating. So you can see right now I have here only 3. That's because of my settings. We have a 4th one. So all, as the name suggests, is accessible to all age groups, teens. That's where we have for teenagers, as it suggests, but it's general, I think, where most stories and universes are going to fall in. It's kind of the classical adventures growing up. And, light theme. This is most of where we kind of see genre fiction. Then we have mature, which is 18 plus. This is really where you get into more advanced and darker theme, crude language, implicit scenes, and much more in general kind of, could say, maybe realistic or brutal things happening in the universe. We have another one which is 21 plus, where you can get very explicit, but that one is the reason why you cannot see it here, has much more restrictions of how it's going to display. This is something that you should really think of in the beginning where you want to fall in. You can of course always change it later. But always think about it and kind of tailor your stories towards that. Now, big important part is the license. There is a lot of licenses here. What really you want to think about are only about 3 licenses. We have here the full set of the Creative Commons licenses, and you will most likely want to pick the Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, Non-Derivatives. That is if you want to put out your story for free and kind of give out the copyright. Probably not many of you there. Special case here is no rights reserved or CC0 license. Again, this is you kind of push it out into the public domain, and not something that you want to do for your original work. This is mostly reserved for historical texts and stories that are out of the copyright. So what it will come down to is between Literary Universe exclusive and non-exclusive licenses. Literary Universe exclusive is simple. You say that you're exclusively publishing online, and I need to underline it's only online on our domain. If you then go to, say, a publisher and want to publish your books, stories physically, then you can do that as long as it's not online. So you can keep it with us online. We then take, if there are any commission, only 10%. Literary Universe non-exclusive is very similar to the exclusive one. The difference is that you say, yes, I'm publishing here, it's copyrighted, but I'm not exclusive to Literary Universe, so you can publish on other platforms as well. And then the platform cut for any monetization is 30%. If you want, we have here, help me choose a license helper, so you can, it will then ask you questions, and from that it will recommend you an option. If you are not sure, choose Literary Universe non-exclusive. One big caveat with Literary Universe exclusive when it comes to universes, that will then force also the stories and everything underneath it to be also exclusive, because then that becomes a little bit of, could say, legal quagmire. So we need to make sure that everything in that case is exclusive. So next we have here, could say, 2 questions. Are there any advertisements or product placements in the work? For most of you, that should be no, but if you have a deal or if you are working on something where you put products in there or advertise them in any shape or form, you need to check this on. And the big question of our day is the content of the universe generated by AI. So this is in case that you use AI to really write all the text and you only steer it a little bit. If you do that, it will then ask you which model are you using. That's optional if you want to, just kind of so that people get an idea. So only check this if you really are using AI to be kind of the main creator. If you are just using it for little parts here and there, then don't do it. You can select it, for example, in Encyclopedia for individual entries to say that has happened. Or if you are just using AI to be your assistant, then that's fine. We don't count that unless the assistant is pretty much rewriting your stories or being more than an assistant of just showcasing you, hey, you have grammatical error here, this is not worded correctly, and so on. And kind of related to that, AI access. Right now we have available 3 options, and this is how AI can access your stories. So we do have some tools to make it easier for the AI, so that it doesn't do all the, let's say, borderline illegal stuff, and we kind of give it a nice access if you choose that. Of course, by default it's blocked. That means they cannot access your content, or at least not in an easy way, and we are always trying to make sure that there's only the nice way when you give the approval for them to access it. Next is limited. This is kind of access to your metadata. So if LM comes onto the page of the universe, it will be able to access what is the name of the universe, you who wrote it, and some basic statistics about it, including, okay, here are the links to the stories and other things. And then we have free options. That means, they will be able to access all the information. In the future, we are hoping that we can find a way to have paid access. So when LM comes onto your stories and universe and so on, they will have to pay a fee that you specify, or that gonna get together. Retake. Finally, we have the paid option, or that's coming in the future, where we hope to establish a way that LM can come onto your universe and stories and so on, get the information, but pay for it. So let us select here the license. And there we go. We have created our universe. So let's look over the universe dashboard. Here you see, of course, the cover. This is the default cover. When you click on it, you can change it. We have here stories. This is the stories in the universe. We'll cover that next time. Then we have encyclopedia. Next, here we have our encyclopedia. This is your story Bible. That's another name for it. This is where all your characters, locations, historical events, items, everything that you can think of goes into. The beauty of Literary Universe is that you can then use that and connect that in stories. We'll show that later point. This encyclopedia is also from the beginning thought to be publicly available, so it will then appear in your universe page and your readers can go through it. Of course, you can always set different items or even fields private just for use, just to make sure that the audience does not see it before they are supposed to, or if it's just your private notes. We'll go deeper into encyclopedia in a standalone part. We'll go deeper into encyclopedia in another episode. Next here we have universe page. This is your blog, where you can write blog posts, behind the scenes and all the other stuff, and interact with your audience. Translations, I think it's self-explanatory. You can select languages that you want to translate into and either translate yourself or invite somebody else to be the translator for that. Fan Manager allows you to set different settings for how you want your readers and fans to interact with your work after they are finished reading. So you can manage more easily things like fan fiction, you can receive fan art, and all the other stuff. Statistics will show you how people are accessing your universe, specifically the universe page, and what is popular in Encyclopedia. Timelines allows you to plan your series of stories or just standalones and kind of put it all together and also put it out to the public so that you can see what follows what and so on. Forum, there are two types of forums, one for the public on your universe page, another one internally. This is if you have collaborators. Then we have an AI assistant where you can set up all the necessary things for AI assistance around your universe and all the limits as well. Where you mentioned, you can invite collaborators so that they can work in the encyclopedia and help you build the universe. Next, we have here monetization. This is still something that's coming in the future, which will allow you to set up a fan club. This is specifically for universes where you have multiple collaborators so that you can split the money that will come from that and fund larger endeavors within that universe. Now, Resolution Center is something that we hope you don't have to ever visit. This is where, if there is like any reports, this is where, for example, reports for bad age rating will be up here, and we'll kind of work on resolution or anything else that's could be problematic or be some issues. Settings are going to take you back to pretty much the creation form, and we'll show you all the information. You can change them again. And forum settings, paste the settings to the forums, this specifically for your internal use. So this has been a quick rundown of universes in Literary Universe and options that are available. I'll go more in depth to stories, encyclopedia, and the different settings that you can use there in episodes because those are chapters on their own. Thank you for tuning in and see you next time.